even in the field of climate change right now. So there's this thing called um, okay, it might take a little time to explain, but yeah.
Please go ahead. Mhm.
So when I worked within climate change, I was mostly working with small landowners. So usually, um, what happens is, if there's like maybe a small landowner and they are doing some sustainable practices, for example, like taking care of plants, trees, and they are planting different trees, anything, and they can get the amount of land, the area of land verified, to find out how much carbon is stored or sequestered in that area, and they can get paid for that amount of carbon. Like for example, the concept of carbon offsetting, which is pretty common now. Like there's a huge chain of like a big company or someone who's offsetting who is emitting a lot of carbon, and they can like offset their carbon using some carbon credits. So most of the process is pretty manual, so people have to fly in, they like measure the trees for the height and girth, and they extrapolate the number of trees, for example, in a biodiversity. Now, that's not extremely accurate. Plus, that's very expensive for small landowners, and that's why they kind of left behind like almost 500 million small landholders in the world. They can't get to this, and they can't get incentivized for their carbon sequestration process, because this is extremely expensive for them. And even the provider, the people who do the verification, it's extremely expensive for them to do as well. And they would only do it if it's profitable for them. So it leaves out 500 million small landowners in the world. Now, if we use artificial intelligence there, which I was working on, like developing a model, and we have a patent pending on the work that we did. So we can use like 2D images and 3D images, satellite images, out like the 14 bands, and some 3D information like digital elevation models, or surface models, and we can get like a height girth approximation, the count, etc., which can basically help us um, verify the carbon sequestration for these small landowners at a very cheap cost. And this would be like very profitable for them as well. Also, everyone needs to be paid for what they're doing. I strongly believe in that. And if someone's doing such an important work, they need, like food on their table the end of the day. And that's why I think it's like extremely noble and extremely important. There's definitely this issue of a lot of carbon emission when you are training the model, but there are some evolutions around that as well. So yeah, so I think it definitely looks really good. Again, a lot of ethics needs to be involved around this. If we're working with climate change, for example, there's a lot of policies. Different countries, you're looking at different policies. Like in EU, we have um, a lot of rules and policies regarding this. And in different countries as well, even in healthcare, the different healthcare guidelines which need to be taken care of, and we need to make sure that we like respect them while we're working on it. But yeah, it looks pretty good to me, the future.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the example because, of course, it's more relatable. So, this is precious.